Yeah, I would just say try and do both, like balance both.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm looking at myself, I wish I was well, I wish I just like paid more attention in school and tried a bit harder.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the route that I chose, and I think I made some of my best friends in high school. It's my only friends, pretty much friends from high school.
Yeah. I feel like at that age, it's so like life or death. Do you know what I mean? Like looking back, it's like, oh my God, grads next year or whatever. I have to start applying, or not even applying, I'm going to take a gap year, whatever it is. Or for dance, if you're an athlete, I have to start thinking about these like post grad, these like secondary kind of programs that I need to go apply for. Like it just feels so high pressured sometimes in that age. When hindsight, it's like just you could take a 6 months, 8 months after graduation or whatever it is and really understand what your interests are
Yeah,
and then dive in.
yeah, I think lots of people do that. Like maybe went to school too early because you see how many people like change their majors and stuff nowadays. But from like you said, you can only go off yourself. For me, I didn't feel that pressure very much, and it may just be because of my
You're
circumstance.
so laid back though. Like as a human, you're just genuinely like, oh, really? Oh, I should feel pressure right now. Something I've always been jealous of.
Ice in the veins.
So then, okay, I want to transition now because you obviously like shined at your sport and what were like I guess for listeners, you made it to Team Canada. You were kind of like top 3 males in your age group in Canada. The time has finally come. I'm joined by the love of my life, Deven Kawa, a name you might recognize from the gates of BMX tracks across Canada. We dive into what it really took for Dev to train as a Team Canada BMX racer, from grueling workouts to the discipline required to compete at the highest level. Let's be real. Dev, I love you to bits, but you were a party animal, and that perhaps is why I was attracted to you. We also get real about what it was like for him to balance the pressures of high school social life while chasing a professional sports dream. Plus, we open up about how Dev supports my wildest ambitions and why we both believe that being strong individuals is the secret sauce to a thriving relationship. We chat a little bit about his rookie career as a backyard barbecue smoker. We also get into the sort of training-ish regimen schedule of our recent marathon endeavor. Why, you might ask, we ever did such a thing, not sure, but we chat about that. Whether you're here for the behind the scenes of Elite BMX or a candid look at love and partnership, without further ado, Dev, welcome to the pod. We are live.
You like to do a stretch before your session?
Oh, I've never really had a guest come into the bedroom with me.
I hope not.
Okay, so cheers.
Cheers.
Right. Okay, listeners, I've been trying to get Deven Kawa on the podcast since the day I started it. That's a lie, probably 6 months ago. Deven Kawa, for those of you that don't know, is a guy that honestly just won't stop following me around. And it got to the point where I was kind of tired of telling him to stop following me around that we called it official. 9 years into it, we're still kicking, thriving, surviving, as they say. Jokes aside, he is my best friend. So it's going to be a fun episode. And we're going to talk about his experience kind of from grade 9-ish, 10-ish, when he started to take BMX professionally. up until now, which is going to be a lot of info, and we'll find some pockets and peaks and valleys in between. But just to kick things off, Dev, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for inviting me.
So Deven listens to a lot of podcasts, and I think that he has this idea of what he wants to sound like on the podcast, which I'm trying to tell him to sound authentic and real, because you are not a comedian, even though you think you are.
Well, that would be real. I would be telling jokes if I was being real, and some just don't hit.
Okay, well, let's just leave it up to the listeners to decide, okay? All right, so typically with guests that come on, I like to bring it back just ever so slightly to where you grew up, what that looked like, and then we uncover sort of, like I said, grade 9 to like grade 12-ish, talking about training, talking about what a sort of day in the life looked like on Team Canada BMX, all that stuff. So
sounds good.
Give listeners a little bit of a recap on where you grew up, what the family household looked like, and all the good stuff in between.
Do I have to speak up louder than this? Or?
It would probably be best, because then I don't have to do all the crazy editing that you would not want me to do.
Grew up in Spruce Grove, Alberta, about 2 kilometers away from where Briggs grew up. My dad, mechanic. My mom worked at the shop with my dad. Family business.
Wait, pause. My dad, a mechanic. My mom worked at the shop with my dad. Like, your dad, did he work at a third-party shop? Did he, what, like, color is always lovely, because a world black and white is a wee bit boring sometimes.
So my dad and grandpa started a transmission shop in Edmonton.
Okay.
And then my mother ran the books and reception and the whole front end side of the business.
Okay.
And my dad was the owner, foreman, ran the company otherwise.
And did he go to school for that? Or did he self-taught or learn from Papa, which is your grandpa?
He went to school for business, got a business degree from Nate, and then when he was like 35, challenged his automotive ticket and got his ticket.
Okay. And so then you sort of grew up watching your dad go to work, your mom go to the same work. Did you know that, like, what was happening, that they were starting a company, that it was, you know, some trials and tribulations when you start a company, or was that not really known when you were younger?
Not known whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah.
You actually didn't know? Or do you think that there wasn't actually any trials or tribulations?
No, there's definitely trials and tribulations.
Okay.
To me, it was just where I kind of grew up from the age of like 2.
But like, so then, did your parents do a good job of hiding the difficulties of starting that company? Or, and I guess within that same breath, did they just have the ability not to take it home, like not to take that stress home?
Not to take it home, but also, I guess by the time we were old enough to even walk, the business had already been open for 5 to 10 years, I think. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, okay.
So it's like they're past the
startup phase?
I would think so.
Okay.
Because like you've seen the videos of like our home videos, it's like we're toddlers walking around a shop that they're building. So like I don't think if you're in a brand new startup phase, you're not building a shop. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you then know, like, what your dad was doing? Was it pretty clear at a young age? Because I feel like your mom used to tell me that you, as soon as you could, take Lego and assemble things, or like look at a computer, you would like disassemble it and reassemble it. Do you remember vividly like loving the mechanisms of things and putting things back together when they were broken and stuff? Or did that not become a realization until you were older, when you started to show interest in working at the shop?
No, I was always like I think it's called a kinesthetic learner.
That's too big of a word for me.
It's what you learn with your hands rather than like reading.
Okay, so it's like more see and do.
Yes.
Than read and
like
apply.
Like if you think of school subjects, it's like English, social.
Yeah, okay.
Versus science, math.
Bull crap. Math? How is that doing with your hands?
Maybe just more black and white.
Are you trying to pretend like you're just smarter than you are?
No, I know I'm an idiot.
So. Oh my gosh. Okay, so anyways. Okay, so then that you knew that you were that type of learner.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so then kind of transitioning, that was parents, that was kind of your upbringing, was growing up in an acreage. Was it like an acreage with animals? Was it an acreage with bikes and dirt bikes? And like what type of play did you have?
Bikes, dirt, grass, balls.
Oh my god, there's a lot.
Balls.
I'll tell you that.
Footballs, basketballs.
Okay.
Not much. Not animals. Not too much like outdoorsy hiking. More we're gonna ride our bikes around the neighborhood and build jumps, or go out on the quads, or.
Do you wish? So sometimes I think about this as an acreage grower myself, youngster myself. I would spend time like on the quads, the dirt bikes around the neighborhood and whatnot, and exploring the forests. And then also, I guess in my case, Grandma Emmy, she would have a green thumb, and so we would help with the gardening. But you hear these like acreage kids or country kids that know how to like track in the snow, like track the animals and learn more about the environment, as in what kind of tree that was, what kind of bush that is, like more so bush living, if that makes sense. Do you wish
like hunter,
yeah, that kind of. Do you wish, because I like I said, I think about this often, that you learnt more of that and less of like, here's our physical environment, how can we buy toys to like use in this physical environment? You know what I mean? Like, as opposed to, we are living on an acreage in the country, let's learn our environment and learn about the species around us and the plant life around us and how to read the stars and like that kind of stuff.
No, I don't wish I learned more now. Because it wasn't like, it's not like a farm. It's like a.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's like a pretty city-like acreage. Just.
Okay.
Like we didn't have a well. We were still on a cistern, but it wasn't like city water. So like it wasn't like city, but it's not like country living.
Is that okay? But I feel like that's a fair point. But then, what is your description of country, like backcountry, no cell reception? Or what classifies a country property to you?
Probably like more than 5 acres.
Oh, so it's the volume.
Yeah, and like
interesting.
And like we didn't have trees in our yard, right? Like it was
fair.
Like our yard's pretty flat, paved roads all the way up to it. So it's just like you're 10 kilometers out of the city.
So it's kind of like, I guess what because I grew up what?
5 minutes.
5 minutes from you, but it almost feels.
Yeah, because
that extra smile makes the difference, because it felt more like country to me.
Yeah, because you guys is like an older area, more
secluded, kind of.
Yeah, trees all
forested. Yeah. Okay, fair.
But also, like, to go back to your other point about wanting to grow up that way. Like, thinking about myself now, it's like, yeah, I'm a pretty hands-on guy, so that would have been cool to do and like get down in the mud and stuff. But because we had toys is when I learned how to like fix things.
Yeah, okay.
It's like if we crashed our quad, we weren't bringing our quad to a mechanic. We were doing it ourselves because our dad knew how.
Yeah.
But it's like you have to go out and learn how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure.
At the same time, so.
That was like Dad teaching me that I couldn't ride the dirt bike if I didn't have the muscle to kickstart it.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, okay, fair enough. Because at the age, I was like, screw you, Dad.
No, we had the same rule. We had the same rule, though.
Like if you weren't strong enough to
If our
maneuver?
feet couldn't touch the ground and we couldn't hold it up with our own weight or start it on our own, we couldn't ride it.
Okay, that's fair. I guess that's safety. How about, so one of Dad's lessons for me was if you can't afford to replace it.
No,
What are your thoughts on that though?
I think it's BS.
And like,
It's on the person who's offering you to, you're giving it to somebody. Think of it that way. It's like if I give you my car to drive and you crash my car, I don't expect you to replace my car. I chose to give you my car. If I was like, hey, take my dirt bike for a ride, I trust you enough to take my dirt bike for a ride that you're not going to crash it. And if you do, my bad, I shouldn't have trusted you that much. Or I should have made
Yeah, that's
sure you
fair.
were able to handle it before giving it to you.
Okay, so then moving on to one of the toys you said that you used on the acreage was your bike. Did you learn how to bike on on the country roads and then find BMX, or did you find BMX and go, I need to learn how to bike? You know what I mean? Like you saw sport and you're like, I want to do that. And now I have to learn how to bike.
Oh, no.
Or were you like pre-biker and then got into BMX?
Well, I got into BMX at the age of 5. So
You had 5 years, buddy.
but you don't start riding. I started riding a bike when I was 2.
So you were a pro already.
No, my mom ran over my training wheels, so.
Like purposely?
No, I put the bike down and then something happened where the bike ran over and I had no more training wheels, so they just taught me how to ride it too.
To rip that freaking Band-Aid right off.
Yeah.
Let her go.
But that was in Morinville. We didn't even live in Spruce.
Yeah, but still sort of a secluded area where you could go off on the road and learn how to bike.
Just like a city neighborhood.
Okay.
Not like a country road or something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay, so then anyways, fast forward now. We're getting into kind of when you're starting to get the rhythm of biking a little bit more. You're getting your mojo. BMX, what did that look like at grade 8, grade 9, grade 10?
Well, I never answered your last question. I would say I knew how to bike and I liked biking because that's how we got around at the acreage, to go see our friends. And then I met one of my friends in school in kindergarten or maybe grade 1, that did BMX. So because I liked biking and he was a friend of mine that did it, I think my parents just took me to the track because it was free to try as long as you had a bike.
Yeah, okay.
So then I went to the track. I liked it. They signed me up for it.
So then it was a sense of your friends were there, parents were interested as well.
Yeah, I think
just give this a go.
Yeah, I think parents just liked that I wanted to do it, and
because when I first met you, I knew about BMX. My sister did motocross, and I knew about the Stony Plain track. But I genuinely was like, why the HE double hockey sticks would you put your child in BMX? Straight up. I genuinely was like, that's sick. That's really cool and rad. And that's awesome. But I don't get it. I don't understand. And then obviously I learned more about the world. And I just feel like that's such a unique and niche sport.
very much so. There's very few people do it for a living.
Yeah.
There's probably 10. Well, now there's more, but when I was getting to the age where it's you can think about doing this for your career, there's maybe 20 people in the world that can do it for a full-time career.
And because, so I know your mom, and she's listeners, I can't go to a sporting event with her because A, you will lose your hearing, and B,
she likes sports.
Yeah, sum it up. She just likes sports. So Deven always said, and correct me if I'm wrong, that she didn't put you in hockey because she knew it'd be bad. Is that right?
Yes, she loves hockey and said that she would be the way, if you see clips of Toronto dads fighting at hockey.
She's the female version?
Yeah, just she would try and coach me, I would imagine, because I never played hockey, but I'd imagine she'd be like, oh, you should have done this, you should have done this. Why didn't you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, could we not argue that happened regardless?
No, because she didn't know anything about BMX.
Okay, so it was
So it was more just self-analyze yourself, and she got to witness you doing that and kind of just fed off that, I would say. It's if I wasn't happy with my race, she would be like, yeah, you maybe could have done something different here or there.
Okay, so let's just pause on the cause. Because, like I said, 0.05% of people in the world probably know the ins and outs of BMX. Okay?
Yeah.
I think understandably so, because it's just not a popular sport. Like, I mean, when you look at the actual economics of it,
It's also, so there's like freestyle BMX, just to specify.
for sure, we're going to get into that.
Okay.
Because I'm going to ask you to like explain really to it somebody that was like, what is BMX? This is the first time I've heard of it.
Oh, okay.
But prior to, I just wanted to make a point where it's like, I understand why, because viewership, money, like it's not a sport that is so widely popular and brings in a lot of viewership and money. And like you said, there's not many professional athletes out there doing it that is making a career out of it as well. So it's not like your NFL, it's not your NHL, it's not your MLB. Like,
lots of people make a career out of it, but it's like, I would probably be wrong in saying this, but it's tough to like, so you can't support a family.
Oh, for sure.
Like that sort of thing.
Yeah. No, 100%. You're not getting $1 million sign.
Yeah, there's no contracts. Yeah. So, well, there's contracts, but not like, yeah.
No, for sure. So, okay, backtrack here, because I did have to get the 411. Is that what the saying is?
I don't know.
The like lowdown, the book for dummies kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like the 411.
I think 411 is what you used to dial if you needed your friend's phone number.
I think 411 is a non-emergency line. But we're gonna probably just move past this point because I might be wrong. Question is, if somebody was like, "What the heck is BMX?" How would you sort of sum that up into a nutshell for somebody that's first listening?
Motocross without a motorbike.
That's actually really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be motocross on a pedal bike.
And the pedal bike, there's no gears. It's like bare bones, correct? Like,
yeah, there's one gear, like a fixed gear ratio.
Yeah. And so it's a straight across bar, pretty low. Like, you're not looking for a road bike here where it's up to your hips and, you know.
Yeah, it's a pretty specific bike. Yeah, you need a specific bike.
Yeah. And so, like you said before, there's speed BMX and there's freestyle BMX, or what is the?
Yeah, like BMX racing and freestyle BMX. So like freestyle BMX is in like a skate park.
Right. Okay.
But now there's more. Like now there's dirt jumps and a bunch of different avenues. But when I started, it was like you got BMX racing or you have freestyle BMX.
I see. And did you ever want to do the freestyle?
No.
No?
No.
You got your like toes into racing, and I like that endurance, and you like that speed, kind of not endurance, but more so speed and velocity.
Yeah, I like speed, going fast.
I like fast.
I'm a god.
I like speed.
I'm a god. I like fast.
Okay, so then kind of to just like amp things up into when you started to really start thinking about it as a sport that you would take on, because it's a sport that you do in spring and summer for the majority. However, your mom has mentioned to me before that there's indoor tracks in the wintertime you could go and train as well.
Yeah, there was.
But for the most part, like especially in where we grew up, it's a spring and summer kind of thing.
Yeah.
So of course, throughout that winter, you're doing volleyball and basketball and the school sports. But getting into spring and summer, what was the like training looking like for you when you started to get into that juniors and elite sort of level?
Well, to go back to your question about when it started to get competitive, probably at like 14, 15, I started to like actually win races. So then prior to that, I was more not wreck, but was just trying to get better. But I was finishing like 7th, 8th, 6th, like always making it to the final, but never winning a final.
And did you have it like, for me, because I just have to go back to like what I can relate to. For me, I had a craving I hated seeing somebody like be better than me or rank higher than me or whatever it was, especially in dance or sports. Did you have that like itch to scratch as well? Or was it just puberty hit and you're like, oh shit, I'm getting faster and stronger and naturally I'm just getting better at BMX?
Like I think obviously every person has like a bit of a competitive edge to them.
Hard stop, no. Hard stop, no.
Well, I disagree with you there.
You think everyone has a competitive itch to scratch?
It might not be sport. It might be school. Somebody wants to get better marks than somebody else.
Hard no.
It might be. Yeah, I think every person has some type of competitiveness to them. It might be I'm a better.
This is a controversy.
I might be a better cook than you. I might be better at folding towels than somebody else. Like.
Yeah, no. I'm sorry. Oh, listeners, write in the comments if you agree with Devin or if you agree with me on this, because I wholeheartedly don't believe that at all. I've met people where I'm like, could you please give a crap about something?
No, but you just probably don't know their thing they care about.
Maybe they don't either.
Maybe they haven't found it yet.
But you think it's in them somewhere?
Yeah, I think it's like a thing you're born with. I think every person's born with it, and some people just choose to.
So are you
follow it more than others?
Okay, so then to go back to your point, or to go back to your situation, you're saying that naturally you had this competitiveness to you. So
to a degree,
at 15, you wanted to develop the skills necessary to start ranking.
Yeah, but it was never about like winning for me. It was never like I'm upset that I'm losing. Well, obviously not stoked I'm not winning, but it was never like I'm gonna go train harder to win at that age.
What was it then?
I like the sport. It's like I want to try and do this. I want to learn this skill, let's say, and that skill will make me faster. So like at like 15, I was doing more skills than people.
Like maneuvering on the
like jumping jumps or manualing things.
And manually means
just like a wheelie across a jump.
Like little tricks here and there, kind of like quirky, unique, stylistic things that would get you.
No, because they're like faster. Like depending on the jump, it's like faster to go a certain way over it.
And it's not aerodynamic?
No, it's just like I don't know how to describe it. It's like if you have two bumps that are super close together.
Yeah.
To try and just ride over them is going to be slower than if you can just jump across them.
Right.
Because you have to go down then up. Like if you think about it in very like layman's terms, it's like you have.
Oh, no worries. I'll just be the layman here.
You have an uphill.
Yeah.
To go up, and then you have another uphill to go up.
Right.
Where this, you're just going up one and skipping the second uphill.
Like you're saying you could do that.
Yeah. So if you're jumping the jump, you go up one, and then you land on the downhill slope and get more speed.
Yeah. Okay. And so for listeners, just to give you context, a track is normally like 30 seconds to a minute long, like depending on your level, kind of thing. Like
yeah.
A minute would be on the far end.
Yeah, like
but so this is like Dev said, it's speed, and it's also like technique as well, like you're saying.
Yeah, technique and power and like explosiveness power. Like
so we would train basically legs your whole entire life.
Yeah.
Just build those glutes.
We would train like an Olympic sprinter. At the time, we were doing like the same exercises as a sprinter because we're coming from a standstill. The only difference is we're on a bike. So you if you think of a track, you have a
I never thought of that.
60-meter start with no jumps, and it's just like get out ahead of people. So you're training to get out ahead as fast as you can, and then you don't have to worry about anybody else on your head.
And so when you say we were training, like, are you on a team? Is BMX a team sport, or is BMX an individual? I'll see you at the track because we're a part of a club, but we're not a part of a team.
That's like that. However you just described that.
It's like there's a club.
We're part of Stony Plain BMX, but you race as yourself.
Do you miss that? Because for me, I guess to go to dance, we had solos that we could feel individuals as, but then we had groups to compete with as a group, as an entity. Do you, or maybe you never thought about it, but wish you had that sort of team where we're getting to that finish line together?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I got to experience that at like school sports, but I would say I'm a really friendly or friends and family orientated person. So like the team aspect I like in things.
Yeah.
I like being an individual because at the same time it's like you can outshine people,
Yeah.
but I also like the idea of like you're a team trying to accomplish something.
Okay, pause. Do you need to check on the smoker? You can go to that, can you?
Yeah, well, we'll just have to eat later.
That's fine.
Then we plan.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just throw some more charcoal on.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, it's all right. Oh, not right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you're now starting to get your mojo. You're getting, better at the sport. When does Team Canada, Team Alberta, these like scouts, or at least this like next level, if you will, because people start to like trickle off once you start to find out you're not good at a sport. It happens to anyone when they're younger. They pick everything to try, and then they're like, yeah, no, I'm shit. I'm really good. I'm shit at that. Drop, drop, drop. You know what I mean? When did you start to like narrow and focus in and realize that your friends that you first started BMX with kind of died off a little bit with it, and you started to peak and go into Team Alberta, Team Canada? When did that all happen?
Probably like 14, you start getting invited to camps. And then from the camps...
Did you get invited to camps?
Yeah.
You
like
what?
Based on your finishing place from the year prior.
You have to get invited to the camp to attend?
Yeah.
From a business standpoint?
No, because you don't pay for them. Like it's not like a dance camp that you just send.
Or just a sports camp?
It's like a tryout, basically. Think of a camp, like the camps I'm talking about, as a tryout.
So like NHL, like preseason camps kind of thing. Like obviously not that level, or like
a soccer tryout, or like...
Why do they call it camps?
Just that was what they... No, they probably called them tryouts back then. I'm just referring to the camp because I'm like, after you make the team, you do camps.
Yeah.
After that, so
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
probably just basing. Yeah, that's my bad.
Oh my gosh, I'll just be here for you when you need, that's all. Anyways, so you said about 14 then.
Yeah.
And I know you, I met you when you were 17. Yeah, I met you when you were 17. So obviously this was a few years before then, but you were a naturally gifted human being with school and sports, but you could have given less than two craps. And was there any part of you at this age where you feel like you actually did give a crap? Or was it always this sort of like, I'm naturally gifted and I'll show up, but I'm not going to go the extra mile?
Oh no, I always gave a crap about BMX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Just for the record.
Yeah, I just want to put that out there in case anybody's listening. No, absolutely I did. I would say my downfall was my lack of motivation. Like I always cared about it, and it was upsetting to me when I wouldn't do good, but I couldn't find the motivation to do the proper things that would get me to better places.
And proper things was like nutrition, extra training, like cross training and stuff?
Yeah, and there's like people also say it's like you can be really good at a sport, wait till they get to like 18 and booze and girls and friends get involved. So it's like,
well, that's with any sport. Yeah, you're so right.
It's like the second you turn the age where you have like an option to go to a party or stay at home and lift weights or do...
But like, I tip my hat off to people that do that, because I think you're on a straight path to burnout, or like just a straight path to not developing personal skills as well if you're not exploring, the partying, the drinking. And this doesn't have to be obviously alcoholic, but I mean, like, let's have fun. So in high school, you have your social distractions, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
You have your school distraction because you have school to still do, your studies to attend. But then you also have BMX. And I really do want to dive into like Team Canada Team Alberta, because these are like extra clubs, correct, on top of Stony Plain BMX, or are these now your only affiliates? Like you're only affiliated with these extra teams or with these teams?
No, you're not. You're still with your like club, but like BMX is kind of like at the time was like kind of train yourself. It's like we'd show up to the track at let's say like 6, and we'd be there till 8. But you don't. Most times you don't have a coach. You're just like riding around.
That's so wild to me.
Practicing.
First time I heard that, I was like, "There's no way." It's just like a free for all. And also, is it not open to the public too, or is it
Some
closed?
some tracks are open to the public like all the time.
So I guess, and this isn't the reason why obviously your parents did it, but this is a quite feasible sport. Like when you think about it,
Oh yeah.
buy a BMX bike, grab some clip shoes.
No, but you don't even like
Yeah,
to get into it. All you need is a pedal bike, which you can get
and go to the community track
if your track has one. Or but like also like to sign up for the club is only I don't know what it costs.
The fees, whatever. Yeah.
But like maybe $300 a year, $350 a year maybe.
Which is just like I know you hear this, it's like, you know, on repeat now, but compared to other sports, especially dance, for in my case, that's a cottage that you could have bought for dance. Like you literally could have invested in a property after, you graduate from high school. And so it is so shocking for me to hear the fees for BMX, because you're buying your race bib or whatever, like your practice and your race one.
Like jerseys?
Yeah,
stuff?
jersey.
Yeah, but like that's if you're going fees, but I'm saying like to get in, like lots of people get into it with just wearing jeans and a long sleeve. You needed basically you couldn't see any skin, so you could wear jeans, long sleeve, gloves, and a full face helmet. So like your gloves you could get from Canadian Tire for $12. Jeans you have, long sleeve you have.
But then I guess when you want to take it a little further, you have to be traveling to the races, right? Because when I met you, you were traveling like Europe, US, all over Canada. Like you were traveling a lot. So there's a lot of fees associated with that.
For sure. Yeah. And if you're we camped everywhere. So didn't have to pay for a hotel, but if you're paying for a hotel every weekend too, because it's like every weekend of the summer we were basically gone. And yeah, lots of driving. So like can't imagine my parents' fuel bills. And they were also running the company at the time, so it's like try to leave Friday at noon. Turns out we're leaving Friday at maybe like 6 p.m. Get to a track for midnight, 2 a.m. Race Saturday, race Sunday, drive home at 6 p.m. Sunday. So then back to school Monday morning.
Yeah, back to work.
Dad's back to work Monday morning. So like lots of driving time, like time commitment, I would say.
I feel like because I met you when you were 17, when I first met you, it was like February, and 2 weeks in, you took a trip to Europe. Was that a part of a team, or were you an individual racer at that time?
I would have been part of the national team.
Part of the national team. Did they scout you? Did they ask you to join? Or was this one of those like tryouts you have to...
Yeah, like a tryout. They invite you to a camp, let's say.
Yeah. For lack of better terms.
They send you to a camp. Well, you send yourself to a camp.
Yeah.
And they just rent out a track for you to...
Is this camp in Vancouver, Toronto?
This one was in South Carolina.
For Team Canada?
Yeah, because it's like the Worlds were there that year, so they wanted to see who would be fastest on the Worlds track to make the team.
Because the Worlds track is sort of...
Or maybe not Worlds, but like a World Cup was there.
The distance or the track itself is on par with what you would compete with globally?
Yeah, like that
was...
Was...
the bigger races?
Yeah, like that was the track for that year.
Yeah, okay. And were you having to take like blood work and endurance tests and strength tests and all that stuff to get onto the team, or was it purely just, let's see, show up today and perform and you'll make the team, or you won't?
Yes, that's the answer.
And then after you got onto the team, did they have you testing, training to specific like regimens?
Yeah, they would send you a program and have like quarterly meetings.
Quarterly board meetings.
Not like sorry, not meetings, but like
checkups,
testings.
So quarterly testings would be done by you, or would be done by your.
No, you'd have to fly to Vancouver or drive to, like, the training center was in Vancouver, so we'd have to go to Vancouver. They'd like test your.
Just to make sure you're staying on track. Pun intended.
Yes. Yeah, but at the same, like, if your results were, like, if my results were good, the other stuff didn't matter. So it's all pretty much results based. But then they found the guys that are doing better have better tests. Yeah, but you have those anomalies that are like
you
40 pounds overweight, not me. 40 pounds overweight, that's me. 40 pounds overweight and still winning. It's like those tests don't really matter because they're winning.
Okay, so they could see past it.
Like they don't.
They could close one eye.
Like they don't say this or anything, but it's just like sport. If you're winning, you probably don't have to change much if you're winning all the time.
But that's a rarity.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and then so with BMX, there's elite, right? That's pro elite. Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
where you kind of peak. That's your highest level. Yeah. And that's what you were performing at or racing at what age?
19.
You were 19. Is that the average age that you get to when you're racing at that?
Well, it just goes up by age. So, like, you're forced to go either elite or else you go back down to, like, amateur.
And do you have to win a certain amount of races per year? I think your mom and I were talking about this. Like, do you have to win a certain amount in order to elevate, in order to get from one age group or one level to the next?
When you're a little kid, yeah, up to the age of 16.
But then it cuts off?
Yeah, so you could be like a 16 who's never won a race in his life and wants to go like a junior.
Yeah.
And then you're instant, like, you just sign up for junior.
Cool. When did you start to realize kind of that your dad was operating a shop that you might be interested in? Because you started working there when you were young, like shop hand kind of thing.
Probably at like that age whenever I first started working there. Like it was like.
So grade 8, grade 9?
Yeah.
But you had BMX in your head, obviously. And you were naturally a gifted, like, student as well. Could you, at the time, to, like, bring it back to listeners that might be listening as, a talented athlete of whatever, but also has this, like, stronger education backing as well. Are you somebody that, like, projected into the future at all to see what it might look like? Or did you honestly just go, like, bit by bit, day by day, like, when's the party on Friday?
Definitely the second one. When's the party Friday and Saturday?
Saturday and Thursday,
Wednesday. No, there was like I always kind of had a game plan.
A roughin'?
Yeah. And my roughin' really hadn't changed since like grade 9. Grade 8, grade 9.
What was the shop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like, I think that's also why I didn't really care too much about school or try harder in school, because it's like I know what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it's like if something
wasn't the case.
If that wasn't the case, well, what if the world was flat?
No, I know hindsight, or not even hindsight, but like this is the reality of it, so why would you even think otherwise? I guess I'm just trying to relate to listeners. And trying to sort of, maybe even if you're not young and in that age group yourself, but a parent that has somebody that is naturally gifted at a sport, but then also really gifted in school as well. You found it to be, I guess, a very unique situation where you knew post-grad what you were going to probably end up doing. If you were raising a kid, say, for example, and there wasn't a family business that they were interested in, would you push them to be in that sport for longer and really try and like dial in and go for it, go all in? Or would you start to see if they were really gifted in school? Would you go, you should think about your future and the career that you might have with your science interest or your math interest or your social skills or your journalism expertise? Like, Do you think at this point in your life that you would start to apply pressure or influence on your child to try and navigate them into a certain direction?
I would say ask the kid whatever the kid seems most interested in at the time.
What if they were like, "Mom, Dad, I don't give a crap. There's a party on Saturday I want to go to." Like, you know what I mean? Like, what if
Yeah, I would
genuinely just like you could see the kids like next 10 years, like not actually, but because as a parent, as an elder, as a senior, as a whatever, you can kind of see in a child
what's important.
what's
Yeah,
currently
yeah.
in their vested interest and what's in their future interest.
I mean, obviously, I think school's very important.
Yeah.
Whether it's like trade school, university, like, but also I would just be, I would treat him as an adult, like just be as real as possible. Be like, these are the circumstances that you're dealing with right now. If he's in a sport that there's a lifestyle outside of like in the sport, if you're that gifted of it,
Like you can support your family.
yeah, like if you could do this sport and support your family and live a great life, and you see that he loves the sport, then absolutely push him
Do sport.
that direction.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have any interest in school and stuff.
Yeah.
But if he has interest in school, then it's like, okay, well,
Like
like,
college, try to simultaneously do the sport, or ditch college and do college later, pursue sport now.
yeah, I would just say try and do both, like balance both.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm looking at myself, well, I wish I just like paid more attention in school and tried a bit harder.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the route that I chose, and I think I made some of my best friends in high school. It's my only friends, pretty much friends from high school.
Yeah. I feel like at that age, it's so like life or death. Do you know what I mean? Like looking back, it's like, oh my God, grads next year or whatever. I have to start applying, or not even applying, I'm going to take a gap year, whatever it is. Or for dance, if you're an athlete, I have to start thinking about these like post grad, these like secondary kind of programs that I need to go apply for. Like it just feels so high pressured sometimes in that age. When hindsight, it's like just you could take a 6 months, 8 months after graduation or whatever it is and really understand what your interests are.
Yeah.
And then dive in.
Yeah, I think lots of people do that. Like maybe went to school too early because you see how many people like change their majors and stuff nowadays. But from like you said, you can only go off yourself. For me, I didn't feel that pressure very much, and it may just be because of my
You're
circumstance.
so laid back though. Like as a human, you're just genuinely like, oh really? Oh, I should feel pressure right now. Something I've always been jealous of.
Ice in the veins.
So then, okay, I want to transition now because you obviously like shined at your sport and what were like I guess for listeners, you made it to Team Canada. You were kind of like top 3 males in your age group in Canada.
Yeah.
Top 3, like these are just like accolades that I feel like you brush off now, and anyone's that's in your family or in your circle like brushes it off. But it's rare, and it's not common, and it's a huge accomplishment. And I do think that when you're in something and it's all you know, all you hear, all you see, you don't truly understand the scope and the meaning and the sort of importance of it all. But I've always thought, if we do raise a family one day, to be able to teach them or teach kids or teach, your nephews and nieces, whatever that may be, what you learned as an athlete and as a student yourself and bring those like lessons to them is just such a legendary sort of generational thing that you can bring with you.
Yeah.
It's not just so momentary, it's actually everlasting.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like I don't like talking about myself or anything like that.
Yeah, bull crap. You are so overly confident and
I'm confident
in yourself.
I'm confident, but I don't like talking about myself. It's taking you 6 months to get me on here.
My gosh. So much bundle of nerves. It's not even funny. And you're doing amazing.
Thanks.
Okay, so I want to transition now because we are sort of in our, I guess, mid to later 20s. What the heck? How did time fly so fast? And we've started to visualize a life of what our future would look like together. Are you dipping out on me?
No, just stretching.
Okay, for sure. And in that visualization process, I mean, I have frickin' pursued Vancouver, living there, ships, and you've stayed grounded in Spruce Grove, but exactly doing what you wanted to, which was starting to work at the shop full time, starting to think about, what that might look like in the future when your parents retire, all of that stuff. When I was gone for so many years and for so long and pursuing all of these like wild, crazy, stupid things, were you ever unsure about us as a couple and what your future partner would be like, or did you not question it at all?
No, I didn't really question it because you always said how important your family was to you. And it's not like your family's moving, right? Like your family's Spruce Grove. Everybody's stayed local the whole time.
Mm.
So yeah, like I always knew you would settle down here, and you had never really like you everywhere you talked about going was temporary.
Temporary.
So it's like you never mentioned the idea of going anywhere else. So to me, it was just like, yeah, you're experiencing something really cool, and why wouldn't you?
But like, how did you get so laid back about? Hey babe, just FYI, I just rented out a spot in Vancouver and I don't know when I'm coming back. And you were like, that's wicked gnarly, dude. I can drive you there.
Well, one, I don't think I ever said gnarly, dude.
I find you said I would be with you, and I apologize for that. But do you know what I mean? Like, it's like you genuinely never questioned me doing anything ever. How?
Because there's no reason to. Like, you.
But it's not like
one, you didn't give me a reason to, and two, it's like you're doing what you dreamed of your whole life.
I don't need to give you a reason to. It's if anyone in any relationship, like it's you going, I want somebody physically here with me. I want my partner here with me, doing life with me here.
It's gonna sound sad and kind of
cold. That's unlike you.
Cold, but I don't want to say it was nice because it wasn't nice, but it was like it gives me a chance to kind of like lock in and focus on what I need to focus on without any distractions. And
what did you focus on?
How to be a stay-at-home dad.
Like, I'm actually genuinely straight up asking you that.
God, that's going back years. I don't know if my memory's got it.
Well, I was just gone for the last 8 months.
I guess just like focus on fitness, see what I enjoy in life, and I don't know. You put me on the spot.
Yeah, I am applying pressure because you said I want to lock in and focus on stuff. Well, please dive in.
Well, when you were gone this last time, I was working on.
This is very much so not that, and you know it.
Not what?
This is back to 2019 when I moved. How did you go?
But then I was able to I was able to work, save money, not do certain things, not go on, because like your family goes on lots of like weekend getaways.
Yeah.
And like a weekend getaway does get expensive every once in a while.
Okay.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. So it's just like for 6 months I wasn't leaving Spruce Grove. I would go to the bar, have a couple beers, but like it wasn't like.
So then you were locking in on the financial savings?
I would say that was the majority of it. Yeah.
Okay. So we're just gonna pivot off of this hot topic for a sec. You never really did answer my question, so I don't really know how you did it, but I tip my hat. What
was your question again?
How you were always so able to just go, proud of you, go for it, and not actually question anything and not want me to stay back.
Short answer, it's everything you did. It wasn't like you were just like, I want to leave and see a different city. I think that had a lot to do with it. It was like you're going there to do a certain job, and a job that you've trained for 18 years for at that point, 19 years for, like as a dancer.
Yeah.
Like you're going to Vancouver to dance. You're not going to Vancouver just to live in Vancouver. Because that would be a different conversation then, I would think.
Yeah, fair enough.
I would like to hope I would have a different
And
conversation.
I do wonder if you didn't have a sports background where you were training so hard yourself, if that maybe would have changed things.
Yeah.
It's hard to relate to
For sure.
that you don't see eye to eye on.
Yeah, and I'm also, I mean, when you're here, it's amazing, and I don't want anything else. But when you're gone, I feel like I turn into like a more of a isolated person at times too. Especially this last time after you being gone, it's just like I'm fine being alone.
Which never used to happen, hey? Like,
yeah, no,
when I was first gone, it was like there was 5 minutes of silence and you were itching.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's true. I never really thought of that. But okay, so anyways, I want to talk a little bit about now like the current happenings, because both you and I have obviously this drive, we care about our health, but we also care and find interest in pushing the agenda of our careers, if you will, seeing sort of progression, because neither one of us, whether you like to admit it or not, like to just stay idle in life.
Yep, that's true.
Obviously, I think I'm more vocal and more like colorful about it,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't be with somebody that didn't understand that to a certain extent.
Yes.
And so on the spectrum, like we're both on that sort of right-hand side, if you will, of pushing the agenda to make sure that we are bettering ourselves, or at least doing what's optimal and being just our best human beings. And within that, I mean, what was it, December, when I flew home from Miami, I was like interested in doing a marathon.
Yes.
And that's, I guess, for us now, because we are in it, so we can't really see above it yet, but that's wild. And 42, is it 42K?
Yes, 26.1 miles.
Yeah. To stare that down, I flew back to Miami and I started training for it. We signed up, I think, December 10th or something, for our Napa Valley, which was our first marathon run.
First, run.
First run.
Yeah.
Because we never even did an event. We've never done an event before this.
Yeah. We walked the 5K one time.
Okay, so we're just gonna quickly step on by that. So we had the audacity to sign up, kind of not sure what the heck we just did. But 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, whatever, we actually did do our first marathon. And prior to that, like, this is also I think, a perfect example of, we were never track athletes. We have never trained running before. We saw something that might interest us and push us physically, but also mentally, because I think marathon running, long distance running, is a lot of the mental game as well.
I would agree.
And we just buckled in and did it. I don't know if we could have done that 5 years ago. I don't think we could have. But we were both in a place that we kind of agreed to do that. Would you say on the other end of completing that marathon, you see things differently? Like, you see challenges differently? Like, beyond just sports, like something challenging, in the workplace or with a relationship or whatever it may be. Do you see things, feel things differently, or is it hard for you to say right now?
I would say it's hard for me to say right now. Well, you signed up for a triathlon in a month, so
I wasn't making that public because it's
well, I'm
public.
making it public. You signed up, so I'm making it public. And I had the idea of training again, and I was like, that sucks. Don't even want to think about that, especially having to do stuff indoors, where it's like we just ran. I think I looked at my watch, this since December, or my Garmin thing, since December, it's been 2,000 kilometers moved or something stupid.
Yeah, the bulk of that was inside.
Yeah, so it's I don't want to be inside. Where you're push it, do this next, do this next, do this next. Where I'm at this stage, I'm still maybe processing, or yeah.
Which is so healthy. Like, it's actually so healthy to be able to acknowledge, like, what you need as a human.
Yeah, well, it's just like...
I genuinely, Dev, like, I actually couldn't be with somebody like me. Like, I need somebody like you. Because if I was somebody... Like, if I was you...
Looking at you?
Looking at me... I
in
would...
heaven.
No, I would genuinely feel like I needed to match. Like, that's just the human being that I am. And I would find burnout because I was just trying to match.
Yeah,
trying to be on par with.
I would say I do. Because it's like, when we were training for the marathon, I was...
But you still were like, no, I know I'm supposed to train today, but I am absolutely dead. So I might add on another K on Tuesday, but like, I'm not going to go out of my like crazy way to try and stay on schedule and lose sleep and all this stuff. Like, where I am almost unhealthy on that side.
Yeah, I would say, as far as like training goes in the marathon, I was very... almost too laid back, to the point where I was like, too much confidence in myself to...
That's unlike you.
Yeah, I know. Weird. Yeah, I wasn't taking training very seriously. We made it through.
But like,
We made it
also,
through. Well,
I
like I
think you
said,
could like put things into perspective. Like,
realistic.
oh, Napa Valley. Why do you choose Napa Valley? Because clink clink, we like wine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're also pretty like on the spectrum of serious athletes. It's like, it's a lifestyle.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're talking, this isn't a one and done thing. Like,
yeah, and we also both had work every day. It wasn't like we like
did this and dropped everything else.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
But also, it just went to how I've kind of set my whole life up is just like, I finished the race exactly where I wanted to, based on my training.
Was it a comfortable run?
No, it wasn't, but I didn't expect it to be comfortable.
Okay.
But the main thing for me was finishing where I wanted to.
And you did?
Yeah. Like, maybe a minute slower, but...
Yeah, no, fair enough. There's no argument.
So it's like I didn't set...
I had nothing to bash you on.
Unreal expectations, but I know I could have trained harder, I would say.
Well, could have also shot ourselves to the moon if we sacrificed a few things when we were younger.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways, so then moving beyond this, do you see yourself now like pursuing other events?
Yeah,
as it kind of took you into that like interest in not just running, like maybe high rocks?
No, for right now, it's literally
just running.
Yeah, I find joy in just running.
Which is so wild to me.
Yeah, it's weird.
He was like, hey babe, want to go for a 5K? Oh, do you want to bike a 10? I'll do the run, you can do the bike. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Now it's like, even when I went for my bike ride the other day, I was like, oh, this kind of sucks.
Wish I was running.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how you can just, because that was 6 months. No, December, January, February, March. That was 4 months. That's wild. I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think when I look at your life like story, and you're so young and we're so young and we still have so much to uncover together as a couple, but also as individuals, I think that's one thing that you and I do really well is there's us as a couple, but there's so much importance in also like being us as individuals too. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that that's like a recipe for everyone, but if you're somebody that comes from like a background that maybe you were extra special in, whether it be sports or school or arts and crafts, like whatever you name it, I think you attach yourself to identities like that, you know, like you attach yourself to chapters in your life. Like, I'm a BMX racer. That's like kind of my safe like title.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
You know, and when you start to get older and you break away from those titles for whatever reasons, also for me, it's like, I am the owner of Last Shot. Like, if that got taken away from me, it's like, I gotta find a new title. Like, and that's a natural thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. And I don't know if we necessarily all think about it like that, and that's probably good for the best. But what I think I love about us as a couple is being able to like find ourselves in these roles as individuals and pursuing them regardless, being, you know, support systems for each other.
Yeah.
Like for me, like you said, signing up for a triathlon, thought we were doing it together. That's fine. You need to do what you need to do. Like I need to do what I need to do, and we'll just support each other along the way, whatever that might be.
Yeah, and I think we're both like relatively flexible in what the other person needs too. So it's like I think us two individually make a stronger.
I agree.
Like being so comfortable individually make a stronger connection together.
Yeah, I agree.
If that makes sense.
Because one of the titles that you have brought on lately is Smokehouse Chef, Cook, Backyard Barbecue Master.
Backyard burners.
And I'm pretty sure the one in the backyard's burning right now. I am so grateful that you came on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I hope it was such a blast for you.
It was riveting. It was.
I honestly am so proud of you. I really, really, truly am. I remember when I met you when you were 17 years old, I was 16. And I perhaps hid a beer can underneath the Boston Pizza couch.
I'm going to come across
from you.
Alcoholic.
Balanced alcoholic. But I honestly, I saw you as a motivated human being, which was always so important to me, but also loving, caring, and had a strong foundation underneath you. So I'm excited to see what your next chapter is in life, because I do look at you like an individual. I also look at you like my best friend and my life partner. But I think that obviously with this podcast and with what I do and endeavor and find passion in, you have been my support. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Of course.
Can I cheers you?
If I have any wine left.
As if you haven't tried to sip yet. I love you.
Love you more. Thank you.
1 hour on the dot.
That's a wrap on another episode of Briggs & Co., where we are leaving average for Joe. I hope you all enjoyed that episode. Hopefully you pulled some inspiration, motivation, maybe a couple hacks, tools, and tricks along the way. If you liked the episode, please give it a share with friends and family, just out into the universe. I would really appreciate it, because that's the only way this show will grow. If you have any questions, comments, or recommendations on guests that I should bring on, please message me at Briggs_and_co_, or send me an email, admin@briggsandco.ca. So much love to you all. Take care of yourselves. Ciao for now.